Sup nerds and welcome to Terra Invicta. I'm so excited about playing this game for the channel that I'm jumping in earlier than I had planned. So first, let me explain what this is and why I might be this excited. Terra Invicta is a game that combines 4X, grand strategy, and space fleet combat into a slick package designed by Pavonis Interactive, the team who did the Long War mod for XCOM, headed by author John Lumpkin. It has elements of XCOM, The Expanse, War of the Worlds, Independence Day, Three Body Problem, and even Interstellar, all depending on which faction you play. It's not a short game. It's going to be an extended series, and I hope you'll stick with me for the ride. Terra Invicta means Earth undefeated. Let's go protect this world. So we'll start up a new game, and the thing I want to discuss immediately here are the factions. We're going with just the basic starting settings here, but what's important are all of these options here. Resist, alien, submit, exploit, escape, cooperate, destroy, or appease. Each one of those words applies to one of the 8 factions of this game. There are 7 human and 1 alien. That would be the alien one. Aliens are going to be a big thing in this game. You might have guessed that just based on everything I've said so far. So, I think that since this is probably going to be a lot of people's first introduction to this game, we're just going to start with the default faction of the Resistance. The Resistance is basically XCOM, but what is unique about this game is these factions are not nations. You know what, I'll explain this when I get in. Let's go ahead and knock it up to veteran difficulty, and we'll start a long campaign. It may take more than 100 hours to complete successfully. That's why I'm saying this is going to be a bit of an extended series.
We remember the day the stars answered, the day we learned we were not alone. As a familiar sun rose on an unfamiliar universe, some of us saw wondrous possibility, and others existential danger. The astronomers had insisted that the bright streak in the sky was no natural phenomenon. Most of us didn't really believe them until it burned through our atmosphere and crashed in a remote region, leaving only wreckage and uncertainty. Now, in our ignorance, we fractured, taking refuge in our most primal emotions. Each of us saw what we wanted to see. Everyone loves heroes, depends on them, to save us from evil, lead us through darkness. Problem is, real heroes are always ignored. What no one understands is that being shot at is easy. The hard part is convincing someone they're drowning before it's too damn late.
And there we are. That's Iwate, the leader of the Resistance, or, well, would be the leader of the Resistance if it wasn't us. So, the game starts right off the bat. An alien probe has crashed into Earth in Russia. We have a UFO there. The location this crashes, by the way, is randomized, which is a fun little element of the game, and there's some things that come off of that I'll explain when they become more relevant. But
Greetings, Commander.
We'll go through this.
I am pleased to report the Council has appointed you leader of our organization. I am Fiona Iwade, your Chief of Staff. While most of the world is reacting with fascination at the arrival of an alien species on Earth, we represent a small group who believes the aliens' crash landing and disappearance may signify a potential threat. We intend to build an international organization capable of investigating and, if necessary, combating any danger aliens may pose.
Alright, and there is the theme of this game. We are not playing nations. We are not playing states. We are playing supranational organizations, secret societies at the start of the game, along the lines of the Illuminati, perhaps, or the Bilderberg Group. Any of these associations that people might think of as secretly controlling the strings we're actually going to be doing that in this game. That is the theme of this game. This is not XCOM with on-the-ground tactical battles. This is purely a strategic game until we get up into space, and then things are going to be a little different. Now, the very, very first thing I want to show you with this game is the scale of things. So obviously, we have the entire Earth in play. We also have Tiangong Station here, we can see, is in low Earth orbit, and we will have different orbits around our planets. But if we start to zoom out, you might already notice what's happening. The moon is in play, the different Lagrange points, Mars, Mercury, asteroid belt, even Kuiper belt objects. This game is big. We are dealing with the entire solar system. But for now, we're just on Earth. And in fact, here on Earth, we don't have a lot going for us yet. We have no influence over anyone, no sources of funding, no real way to make things happen. We're starting at basically nothing, at the world having had an alien crash in Vladivostok, which is over here. We have a UFO has crashed over there. And that's kind of where we are. We have a couple people on our team. These are randomized. Let's see who we have. We have an officer here with some command and administration strength. That's okay to start. It's not my favorite.
Reporting in.
A politician is good. Somebody who's persuasive, investigative, has some administration as well. If we pop open the counselor's window, we can get a little more detail about them. This is what their monthly incomes are. Each of our counselors here, these are the active units will be moving around the map. These are our forces to do things with anything we can imagine, basically. So if we pop into Michael Martin's here, we can see some more traits. We can see all the different missions he's able to do, and he's missing a few key ones that I like early on, which is unfortunate, but we'll grab a third to help make up for that. But we can tell that he's a government agent, a hard target, which means that he's hard to be taken down, and prosperous, so he's bringing in a little bit of money every month. That's nice. We can also look into buying organizations. Organizations are everything from private corporations, we can see a gaming company here. We can see a semiconductor thing. Just basically all corporations are part of this, but also governmental organizations, or even later on structures like functionally equivalent to SpaceX or Blue Origin, interplanetary, interplanetary organizations designed to get humanity into the stars. We can bring those into our fold. So there's a lot here. We'll try to go over it kind of as it becomes relevant. I'm just giving a very brief covering of all this. Can also see that there's experience on this, and age. Age is actually important because this game is going to go on for so long. We'll talk about the date and everything here in a moment. So if we look, we can augment this. He'll get experience over time. We'll be able to upgrade him and kind of shift him into being more what we're looking for. I want to check the other counselor real quick. What's he got? Prosperous as well. He's a lobbyist, so extra funding. All right, sociopath. Eminent. Okay, monthly influence income is great early game, and another government character. Government characters are able to get organizations that can only go to government characters, so that's important too. So let's look into recruitment. We need somebody else who's going to be able to bring people to our side. And looking at our options here, the only one we can afford and who really looks like she fits what we're doing is Harshi Vermani here. Ethical, enemy of the state. Okay, can't do anything in India, so this is going to rule out an India run, basically. That's fine. Um, we could grab her and buy that out eventually. She's old. I don't love that she's old, but right now we just need to fill up our slots. So I'm going to go ahead and recruit her just for some help with some of the early game prospects because she has public campaign. That's the biggest one I wanted to see. Can she actually control nations? She can't, so she's going to be purely for some other work. That's fine. I think that's fine. That's fine. We don't have any other choice, really. I mean, I could look at, like, Tamaha Limijanti here would probably be not bad if I want to wait to get the influence. I don't want to wait to get the influence. That's the big thing. I want people out and working right now. So, Harshi, you're coming with us. Then, I want to take a look at the organizations real quick. I'll do that off camera and cut back in when I'm done. Okay, we have these 4 different organizations we can buy at the moment, and that's across all our counselors. We can see only those 4 can be bought. Harshi can't even get any of them. So what we want, I think, is a reticulum semiconductor here. It's headquartered in Washington in America. We're going to give this to Michael because he's got the org capacity for it. The administration score determines how many different organizations people can hold. This one gives 3 money every month, 19 science every month, and ups science score by 1. That's really the big thing that I'm looking at right now, is upping the science score. We're also going to grab Linden products on him just for 14 extra money every month. It doesn't seem like a lot. It's not a lot overall, but in the early game especially, it's worthwhile. So we'll grab those. We're kind of tanking our early money. That's okay. It's going to pay back. Now, looking around the world, we can pop into, while I've been talking about India a little, let's look at India. India here has a whole bunch of stats going on. Like, this game is deep, it's intricate. I love it for that. The most important thing for us to note are these 2 numbers. First, it's the influence points. This affects how much we'll be able to kind of build there. And second is these control slots, which functionally are the size of the country and how difficult they are to take over. India is going to be basically impossible to try to take over. Like, if I took Guan Chai here and tried to take it, we see it's a 1% chance. Even if I cranked up spending as much influence as I can to try to make this happen, 4%. You can't jump into a big, even moderately high GDP country like India right away. It's just not going to happen. So what do? Well, we find somewhere else to go. Now, countries start with a bit of public opinion about the other groups in the world, and we can use this to our advantage. If we change this drop down to be faction popularity, we can sort of see the places that like different groups. This kind of purplish color is the servants. That's concerning this close to Russia. We have Afghanistan, which is all about humanity first. Over here, more humanity first. There's not a lot of places looking friendly-ish to the resistance at the moment. What about over in the Western Hemisphere? No, not really anything too particular. So, how do we make them friendlier to us? Well, we do missions. We start taking control points. We start setting up our influence in places. There's really 2 good options if India is functionally off the table. Because, like, if I wanted to take India, what I would do is I'd go in through Nepal and Pakistan and Bangladesh and just sort of be applying pressure into this area. That's not what we're going to be doing this time. Instead, I think I'm going to want to look at either going into Europe or going for the big kahuna and trying to take the US, starting with something small, like perhaps the Caribbean states. Taking Caribbean states or Canada or Mexico gives a direct lean in here. We want to take places that US is allies with or in the Federation with. US is a very complicated country, as you can see. So let me think about where I want to go and how I want to do this. Just a brief note, the reason why I wouldn't want to go with China, despite, China being obviously a huge country that has a lot of potential, is that China is incredibly hard to crack into. For the same reasons that India is just all the more intense, plus government censorship that makes it harder to spread our message and get involved. There is a route going through North Korea I could take. There are some other routes around here, like Afghanistan, I think technically borders China. Yeah, it does. And so that would be an option, or Tajikistan. But I'm not looking to do really a Central Asia playthrough right now. I do want to get Kazakhstan for reasons I'll explain. But I think first move is going to get Belize, actually. From Belize, we'll be able to get into Mexico, start taking that over, and with Mexico, we'll have a lot of influence into the United States. So, let's get started. We have a very good chance. I don't even want to spend any influence on this. I want to try to save my resources where I can. Guanxi, go.
Bringing them to our side.
Reporting in.
Yes, okay, good. You're set.
Acknowledged.
Michael Martins, you, for now, I should send to investigate that alien activity. That's over in Russia.
We'll see what
He'll
we can
go off
find.
and do that. And
Ready.
Harchi here, I'm going to have her start just kind of souping us up in Mexico. So let's go ahead and give her a little bit of money to get this campaign started.
I will try to sway the public.
This is her persuasion skill is high, so she'll be a good option for this. In fact, if I look here, yeah, she does have a few points that I can spend to just really crank that up. So persuasion 9 now, that will help get things going there. With that done, we confirm our assignments. This is not we could hit the play button and get things going, but there are other things I still want to do. Most notably, if we're going to be fighting aliens, we need better technology. That's just all there is to it. So we go into our tech tree. These are the basic 3 starting techs. We're going to put a little bit of research into all of them. We don't generate a ton of research right now, so throwing ours into one and just kind of trying to lead it isn't really a thing we're doing. What's important to know about techs is that all techs are shared by all humans. If something is learned through the internet, through backdoor messages, through hacking, whatever you might want to think of to explain it, the entire species has access to the technology. So, this is actually good for us. We're not really at war with most of the other factions. The servants are a very critical exception to this. It's the little purple guys with the flame here. Well, we'll talk about them in a bit. But we need to be researching and getting all of humanity prepared for this fight. However, only the faction that is leading, that contributed the most to any particular research, is able to be the one that picks the next tech that goes in that slot. And as for why that's important to be able to pick which techs, well, let's take a look at the tech tree. So this doesn't look too bad at first. I mean, this looks pretty intense already, I know, but we've got a lot here. And it keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going and keeps going until we're to proton and proton fusion, climate change mitigation, all of that. Like, really getting into advanced technology at the end. That's not the full tech tree. Clicking view full tree made my computer lag. This is the full tech tree. So, being able to say, this is what we want to learn, this is what we want to do, and guide humanity's path through all this research is very important. We're probably not researching all these techs in a single game. I'll make that clear. We're going to be like skipping things and making old techs obsolete and things like that, so you never have to go to them. Like if we're discovering antimatter missiles, it hardly matters what kind of gunpowder based stuff we have over here, right? But it's still an option for early in the game. So we want a little bit of investment in everything, and the reason why is when we do that, we get a slight bonus. You can see 0.33 research distribution bonus, just like 3 or 4 lines down here. And that helps kind of just give us a little bit extra. It gives more science to humans overall, so we want to be tapping into that whenever possible. So we've got all this set up. We have a plan. We're going to take the leads. We're going to go into Mexico and we're going to investigate the alien activity. It looks like, oh, that's just the ISS is being run by the Academy. But yeah, I think that's a good spot to end our first turn. And we are going to start play. So this is a turn-based game for the most part, but there is time. There is real-time events, real-time combat in particular later on in the game. And things happen over the course of this time. Right now, turns are taking 2 weeks. Eventually, they'll take a full month each. That's fine. During this time, while this is going, I'm not cranking it up to full speed because I have some things I want to talk about. I figured it's good to give a kind of view of the state of the world. Russia is at war with Ukraine. This is 2022. The COVID-19 pandemic has just started to wind down. I mean, it's still going even now, but... Okay, let's see. Growing realization that we are not the sole sapient species in the universe is causing many to see their fellow humans in a new light, leading to hopes that we can overcome our capacity for strife to address the alien arrival as one people. Let's try to set aside our differences and go forward together. All nations gain 1 cohesion. Cohesion is this little number down here. It just is how united the people are. So we can see Canada. It's got a diverse population. They're not like a monolithic culture. Like if we went and looked over at, pausing just to do this, over at China, who is Han dominated, they're mostly one culture and they have a lot of cohesion. Canada we saw was 5. 5 is right in the middle. 5 is the sweet spot that all nations should kind of be aiming for. I'll get into why that is when I start talking about how research is generated more. Mexico's a little bit polarized at 3.8. The United States is at 3.9. We're not doing too great here, guys. 2022. That number has gone down in the real world since then. And remember, this is after a 1-point bump up, so we were not doing well. Yeah, the war in Ukraine's on. Syria is split apart horribly. Iraq is in terrible state. Saudi Arabia is a hegemonic kind of one culture place. It's sort of a mirror of the real world in some ways. There are some differences, like France here is considered the leader of the European Union instead of Germany. I'll leave it to my European viewers to comment on, you know, if Schultz or Macron was really the one that was sort of leading things at this time, but it's sort of a cultural thing, and it's a loose federation of allied states in the game. It's modeled that way. They're not truly unified yet. That is something that can happen later on in gameplay, and almost certainly will. We'll almost certainly see the true EU starting to form here. Brexit has happened. Europe is, or Britain is not in that confederation, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, I don't believe it's part of the EU. Yeah, if we look, it doesn't have that middle bar that's showing the European Union, unlike France, Germany, the Netherlands, so on. So, real world politics, at least a little, are impossible to avoid seeing in this game and the effects of it, just kind of how it is. But let's let the time start passing again. We're just sort of going to go 2022 was a split point. This is now our new future where the aliens crashed, and we are going to see a new world coming forward. Now, what do we want to talk about as well? Well, I've mentioned them a few times. There's the other factions. Let's go ahead and bring up the intel screen. Here they are. Oh, hang on. Select management team. So we can choose kind of how we want to set up the organization. Do we want to have more influence? Do we want to have more science, more military power, or more finance? Early game, I have found through my few playthroughs of this that influence is by far the most valuable thing to get started with. It lets us start filling up control points. It lets us start getting into the places we need to go into. Research is obviously critical. Military can be great if you're going certain routes. Money is always good, but we're going to take the lobbyists and influencers. So we're going to get a little bit more influence every month. So,
The people will come to our side.
started building support in Mexico. We're just going to tell her to keep doing that. Humanity first as one of the factions. So the resistance is XCOM, as I said. Humanity first sees the aliens as a terrible, terrible threat and abomination that must be wiped out, and any who join them must also be taken down. They are pro-human to the extreme. That is who they are, what they're about. They're going to kind of butt heads with us a lot because Humanity First and the Resistance are probably the two factions with the most in common in the game. I would describe the Resistance as Earth's shield and Humanity First as Earth's sword. So there will be some back and forth with our counselors with some regions that will probably come to play.
Here's what we found.
All right, we did some research of the crash site. We're going to get a little bonus to any xenology research we do going forward. That's kind of most of what we get with investigating these until random chance gives us something more.
We have found something, Commander.
And it gave us some influence and some research, which early on, both of those are obviously very good. It's also going to put together a project. I'll talk about those again when I go back to the research screen, which is not available yet, but they want us to research a project soon. The initiative, this is kind of the true Illuminati, in case you couldn't tell by the eye in a triangle and all that. These are the super elite, rich superpowers who are looking to take the incident of the aliens attacking Earth and turn the most profit and use it to get the most personal power for themselves. They are not about fighting the aliens off. They're about just using the situation to come out on top, screw everyone else. So, new project available. We got that project that they were talking about. I'm actually going to swap over to that instantly. We'll pop open the research real quick. This is, so up top, these are the texts that are shared by everyone, and then down here, these are our personal faction projects. This is research that is only going to apply to the Resistance. We're going to grab alien signatures. It's super, 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 super cheap. just kind of get started on that. In fact, we're going to crank that up to max. These pips are just sort of how thin we're spreading things out. It's equal distribution, like equal parts per, so 1 part, 3 parts, so on, just like any kind of blend that you're doing. Anyway, back to the factions. Servants will get to last.
We've got our people in place.
Incredible news. We took
We'll be
Belize.
ready for new orders soon.
So we can see here now that we have control of this spot. We have the executive. That means that in 180 days, we will be able to control any of Belize's national policies, their military, if they had any, things like that. It's going to take a while. We're not there yet. But we're here now, and we can see kind of what's going on in Belize. And we can see it's not doing so hot in a few ways. There's a decent amount of pollution. The GDP is very low. There's a little bit of strife going on. Not much. That's actually very low for that. The biggest issue is income inequality. That's what this one is right here. They could also be better educated. Also, the servants have a lot of opinion here, which I don't like. But we'll just kind of start here. And we'll set our policies up. We're going to set a new policy. It's kind of a primary template. Income addressing. Or no, equalizing. We'll call it equalizing. And this is just going to be basically a way to make sure this country starts growing as well. These pips work just like those others. There's a whole bunch of options here. I'll kind of explain the relevant ones whenever I do anything with them. For now, I'm just going to get this all set up. Right, so this is going to be pretty simple structure that we've got going on here. We are going to put 20% of our funding, our influence here into building up the economy, 20% into the welfare, and 60% into getting a space program started. If we're going to be fighting aliens, we need space programs everywhere, and I mean everywhere. What's also worth noting is that space programs and mission control, when it comes available, that's right here, and boost are all more efficient with smaller nations than with larger ones. Larger ones are better at things like economy and knowledge. So we'll go ahead and save this as equalizing space. I'm putting in the space just so I can know for myself that this is adding in space power into this. So we're doing that. We're going to get the space program founded. Welfare is giving an alert because income inequality is growing. Spoils is giving an alert because the elite aren't going to be happy that we're not corrupting the country to give them money. Spoils I'll talk about very specifically probably soon, knowing myself. But yeah, we got Belize set up, so we'll go ahead and start on Mexico here soon. Back to the factions. Let time start going again. Servants, we'll talk about last. UN Security Council's meeting, we're going to let the world know we're here. We are going to step forward and say, hi, we're the resistance. We want to protect you. I'm fine doing that. It means a great deal about us will be exposed to the world. I don't mind that.
They are here to cleanse our sick world. The aliens are our saviors, and all who oppose them are enemies of the future.
So Judith has kind of jumped the gun for me. The servants are all about worshipping the aliens as gods and believe that we should turn humanity over to them and that they will ascend us. There's more to them if we ever do a servants playthrough, which could be fun. We'll see a lot of that. But they are traitors, is what it functionally boils down to, at least for the resistance point of view. They are traitors who are going to sell us out. And so they are kind of our main enemy faction in this game. Let's see who else jumps out.
We can
the Academy,
join them
nice.
as brothers and sisters. If we only convince them we are worthy.
Yeah, so the Academy is sort of a proto Star Trek Federation. They want us to unite with the aliens. They want to make diplomatic ties. It is considered the hardest playthrough of this game. It's not one I've touched yet. It's one I would love to do someday. It's really cool. It's a heavy science-based campaign and kind of learning to communicate with them. And there are some other difficulties with being the academy that will pop up here honestly very soon, probably this episode. Who else is coming up? All right, neither of the others. So then next up we have the Protectorate. The Protectorate believes that the aliens are going to win. Logically, there's a lot of logic there. So they think that what we should do is try to surrender in a way that will get us in good favor with them when that time comes. Whether or not that's true, meh. We're on to our next turn. We'll jump to that in a moment. I want to talk about the last faction first, which is Project Exodus. Project Exodus is about getting the hell off of this world. Project Exodus believes that this world is doomed. We need to build a giant colony ship, and we need to get out of here. Some of you saw my poll before I started playing this game, and there were some votes, and actually Project Exodus did win the votes. The reason I'm not doing a Project Exodus campaign right now is because sort of the biggest YouTuber for this game is currently doing Project Exodus, and I really didn't want to do it alongside him. I didn't want to make that be a thing, so I wanted to do something different. And so we're gonna go with the Resistance, and maybe that's not the best thing, but that's the thing I'm doing. So that's sort of the setting of the game explained. Now we have Belize. We have started building up support in Mexico. We're going to keep building up support in Mexico. I'm going to see if we can't snag a control point there. If we throw a whole ton of influence in, we have a decent chance. Is there anything else I can do to make it more
Standing
likely?
by for orders.
I'm here.
Let's see. Michael's bad at it.
Ready to go.
What Michael can do, though, is to stabilize Belize a little, make it just kind of... It's not terribly bad, though the unrest is going to tick up over time. You can tell here in that very first paragraph up at the top that the rest value is 5.1 is where it's going to go. 5.1 is pretty bad. That's almost a civil war. So we're just going to kind of keep him there, policing it, making sure it's calm.
This nation. Standing by for orders.
And we'll take Guanchai here, and since Mexico's still a little too risky to try to take over, we'll also just have him contribute to this public campaign. We don't have much money. I'm going to... Actually, the best way to get it is going to be to take another country nearby. So we'll start grabbing some spots here in Guatemala and keep putting pressure on Mexico that way. If we look at Mexico, control points in neighbors is one of the things that will bring it up our chances as well as popular support. So let's grab more control points in the neighbors. 84% is a great chance. Let's go for it. Taking a quick look before I start the next turn, we can see that a couple places have been taken over. Most notably, Mongolia got taken over by the Protectorate, and I think that's really the only one that has full faction control aside from Belize. I'm willing to bet if I look in Europe, though, we're gonna start seeing some things around. Maybe not yet. Okay, not yet. We might have had the best first turn, us and the Protectorate, so that's cool. Well, let's get this going. Got a good roll in stabilizing Belize, just kind of bringing it down only a little. 0.13 isn't much, but it's kind of enough to counteract what's going on. He got spotted, which is bad if we're trying to operate in secret. We're not at this moment. Keep building up support in Mexico. And we got our first control point in Guatemala. So with that done, we can hop in, we can set up the priorities the same way, make sure that we're trying to bring down some income inequality. We can see that the strife is a lot higher here. Unity's at an okay enough point, I'm not concerned about it. And the country has its own, like, each control point lets us divert a section of the economy. If we take a look at the control points, we can see this one on the far right is always going to be the executive. It's always going to be like the White House, essentially, the executive branch of any country. But the second one is the aristocracy, so it's kind of the rich people and so on, and you'll see it split off. Like religion's another one. I think media becomes, let's take a look at the US. It has a ton. So we've got the financial sector, identity blocks, corporations, mass media, legislature, and executive in the United States. That's about right for locuses of power, loci of power. China has the defense sector, bureaucracy, national industry, security apparatus, the party, and the executive. India has regional authorities, corporations, religion, legislature, and the executive. And then, like, Saudi Arabia has the security apparatus, the party, and the executive. So, yeah, just kind of different branches. Mostly, that's just flavor. The game's just informed me I have good support in France, and I really, really do. Like, 35% is pretty good. And if I tried to control there, I could actually do it. And I'm not gonna lie, that's making me sort of want to divert to an EU game. But I think I'm going to go with the US. I think just for this run, I'm going to go with that strategy. And maybe it's wrong. Probably is. But we're going to go for it. So Mexico is now at a point where with 16 influence, I have a 7 in 10 chance of taking it. Even before this next public campaign goes off, I've got to try. I've got to try for it. I could take the second point in Guatemala here, and I will before getting any further, but we need those. And one other thing I haven't mentioned is, well, I've mentioned it briefly, is this cap up here. We have only so many control points we can hold at any point. Right now, with the ones in Belize and the one in Guatemala, we're up to 6. More expensive nations have higher costs and control points. Each one in the United States is 24.3. It's the same as the influence or the investment point cost. So that we would need 144 just to hold the United States, which means functionally we're probably going to be abandoning some of these others once we get into the US, but the US is a superpower. It is incredibly valuable for what we're trying to do here. So we'll go ahead and go with these assignments and keep trying to crack in.
Is an opportunity. Our test is to recognize and seize it.
So Soren van Week here of the initiative is just giving us his little information about himself and what they're up to. They've started getting some control in the UK. That seems right. Amazing news. We won our roll. We have taken Mexico, at least the first point in there. We're going to go in and look at that at the end of the turn, but that is a good start. And let's look at Mexico's problems really quick. The polarization is enough of an issue. Is this trending towards a higher rest value? No, it's trending towards a lower one. So we're going to get this set up with a new template. You might notice this new template looks very familiar. It's basically the same thing, except now we're going to try to unify people as we're building out their space program. The other thing I want to do is also set to mission control just in case we take a base that has their space program founded already, and we'll get that handled. So, yep. And then Guatemala, you actually, I want to design your template and add that in. Okay. Now we enter an interesting part where I had to decide how much value I want to give to Mexico. US is going to be about 144. Let's just call it 150 even. Mexico's going to be about 40. So that's 184, which is over our current cap. Our cap will go up, so we'll probably be able to hold the US and Mexico both. Because of that, I think it's worth taking some time and building Mexico out. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep doing that. So we are going to change Michael here to, instead of calming down Belize, we're going to set him onto Mexico instead. Same basic deal, just trying to stop the Mexican Civil War and bring down this insurgency, fighting the drug cartels. In the meantime, though, we're going to keep trying to take more control points and kind of get a better grip on this nation. Yeah, it's 16 again.
Establishing control.
Keeping the public order campaign, and we're just going to keep going here. One nice thing about focusing Unity, because Mexico's polarized enough that I want to take that up a little higher, is that Unity, every point that's completed also makes them support us more, because it's propaganda. Unity is propaganda. Alright, and we finish our first project here. It's the alien signatures. We are now going to be able to detect alien abductions when they happen on Earth.
Commander,
Yay?
we appear to have an alien on the loose.
And oh no, it looks like that there's an alien in that probe, that it wasn't just a mechanical probe, and that they are on our world. And also, abductions are happening. What a shock. But yeah, we'll be tracking those abductions now and doing what we can to handle that. We'll keep an eye on all that. Next request is to build the Deep System Skywatch tech. That is coming in time. And we also just need to attack an asset at some point. That's going to be a while away until we do that. Going back to the research tree, we can see sort of the contributions for everyone in each of these branches, and we're not doing too well as a resistance just yet. Some others probably have some wealthier nations under their belt, or the Academy just has a lot to start with. The fact that they're going for Skywatch is something. We're going to have to pick another project. We're going to keep on audience research. It's probably going to be replaced with something else, but this will just give us a chunk of influence, which you can see why I like influence early on with how much I've already spent. Wanted to show you just kind of real time how these influence points are. Oh, Skywatch has kicked on, obviously, because we now see our first alien fleet. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Going out to low Earth orbit.
The trick is not to look directly at what you are trying to see. Offset your focal point somewhere to the side of where you think you notice the movement. At night, the center of your vision doesn't work as well as during the day. I won't try to explain the science to you. What matters is you'll see whatever is out there before they see you.
Ominous.
Colonel Hans Castillo, advising conscripts in Colombia.
Ominous. So yeah, now we can really start looking in the sky better. We're building more observatories to check out what's happening in the world, and
We're taking over.
we got more in Mexico. Cool. Thank you for interrupting me. Keep working on that. I'm going to pause real quick just so we can take a look at what is in front of us here. This is an alien spaceship. It's a vast night class. Can take a look around, just sort of see it from different angles. That's sort of the threat that we're dealing with. It's still quite a ways from Earth, but you know, it's coming into low Earth orbit and will be here by the end of the year. And we don't like that. We honestly don't like that at all.
It has always been true that we must leave the cradle if our species is to survive. If these aliens are indeed hostile, the time to go is now.
And that was Director Khalid Al-Ashkar of Project Exodus. So we've had 2 techs finish, and let's see what's coming next. We're getting Deep Space System Skywatch, which that's going to be fun when that triggers. I'll probably end the episode when that fires off. And the Deep Space Propulsion Concepts. Getting into deep space research, again, I'm not too concerned about throwing into these just yet until we're sort of better settled into our technological niche. We're just not there yet. I do have one more counselor spot, and I do have enough influence that I really want to take a look at what's here. There's no 120 influence counselors, but I don't have that anyway. I mentioned earlier I would love an activist. Let's see what we have in terms of just high perception characters here, or persuasion characters. Frankly, I don't really love any of these people. None of them have the thing I was most looking for, but Tamaha Lumijanti in particular is honestly not great because of the non-grata can't perform missions in rivals of their home nation, and they're Indonesia. It's probably going to cut us off from most of Southeast Asia at that point. So I think I'm going to go with Kareem Harper here, who is old, unfortunately, but we're going to start cranking up our influence income relatively soon, and when that happens we can start looking to replace him pretty early. Again, right now, getting the slots filled out is one of the most important things we could do, and in fact I delayed a little too long getting this guy anyway. I was just talking too much. It's only like turn 3 or 4. We're fine. So to get any more counselors, I need to complete special projects, or I need to turn enemy councils, which are things we're going to do. Mexico's continuing to sway towards us. Alright, we can pick our advisory team, figure out what we want to do. Since we're taking the US, economic development isn't actually the biggest thing we want, but I think directing some to welfare and knowledge makes a lot of sense, just in ways of kind of building everything out. Boost, I'm not so concerned about yet. We're going to go for international aid, just so we can build up smaller nations like the Central and South American nations. Took 3 or 4 points in Mexico, excellent. And there we go, we have finalized support in Mexico. It has completely shifted over to us. We are in full control of this economy. I have not been thinking to change all of this to kind of a unifying, and I should be. Just try to bring this number up, bringing the insurgency down, trying to bring peace to Mexico for now. Yes, I know France would be easier to get into game, but I really want to go into America. We've started sending our people over to start influencing the Americans. We are definitely their most favored faction, and there is some chance of taking over territory now. It's just very slim. So what do I do since I can't take America yet? Well, I think it's time we make a choice that might not make some people happy. In my defense here, morality is something for when your entire world isn't under dire threat. This world is under dire threat. We have a few places we can go, but I think we want to take maybe just a little bit of one of these oil-rich countries. If we're going for America, it has to be Iraq, doesn't it? God damn it. Yeah, it has to be Iraq. So we're gonna take Iraq, and we're going to make some choices.
Bringing them on board.
Our only hope is to understand what the aliens want with us and determine how to satisfy them without losing our independence.
And that's the Protectorate kind of introducing themselves. We got our audience research to get another 25 who costs twice as much, so it's kind of an early game only thing. That's fine. We'll go ahead and swap to starting work on I think the military science lab makes a lot of sense early on. I'm also going to... We'll wait for We Are Not Alone to finish, and then whatever pops in there, we're going to try to take over that slot. We got a control point in Iraq, and popular support shifted in our favor. I'm so sorry, Iraq, for what I'm about to do. So, we need money. We need money real bad. We're going to put everything into spoils. Spoils, well, it gives us a lot of money very quickly. It makes the elites of that country very happy, but it lowers environmental health, it lowers the government's strength, it lowers income equality, and it just wrecks a nation. It really does. I can't justify this in any other way than we need money to save the Earth. And if I'm playing as a group influencing the Americans, it makes perfect sense to influence the Iraqis as well.
The dreamer in me wants to believe it would bring a golden age of advancement and prosperity for all mankind. But I'm a realist. I know better. Any race advanced enough to find us would be advanced enough to end us, likely without even regarding us. Commander Fiona Ayawade, NATO Symposium on First Contact.
Probably right there, Fiona. You're probably right there. So we're going to jump up our research in this outpost abs, I guess is what we're going to be chasing into, and just see if we can't overtake the servants here. We still want to be spread out to get everything, but we're going to start pouring research into there and keep trying to influence the Americans to like us a little more. And hopefully soon we'll be able to get a foothold in there.
They are not life forms or xenosapiens. They are demons incarnate. They and the traitors who support them will face our judgment.
That's Hans Castillo, the leader of Humanity First. Alright, we just got the project to get clandestine cells, which will give us another counselor and 10 control point management. Obviously, I want that, so we're going to change our project to that. And in fact, we're going to give up on taking that first because we want clandestine cells right away. So, priority shift. Just got another UFO crashing down in Algeria. We'll make sure to send probably Michael Martins here over there soon.
Things are cooling off.
Mexico's starting to look a little better. It's still bad, but we're not going to have you repeat because we're going to give you something
Public
else.
sentiment is increasingly with us.
We have complete control of Iraq. We're not going to unify them. We're going to take everything. Sorry, guys. A few turns later, we've gone up to 145 in cash reserves, and our influence is growing, as I said it would be. Now we can start looking at grabbing some more orgs, and this is kind of what we wanted the money for, is just being able to do a few more things. So who do I want with espionage and investigation? Probably our journalist here. She makes a lot of sense if she can have it. She might not be able to. Oh, she has literally no administration. I'm going to give you the one administration because it's going to give you the capability to have one more investigation, one more. Yeah, anyway. So we'll grab this for her. And that's the point of doing it, is to be able to start buying these orgs and tossing them in to us and start really enriching our council. Eventually we'll reach a point where we can let Iraq go. We're not there yet. It's a short-term evil for a long-term good. And it looks like we have in Colombia here. Yep, the servants have taken control. So we're going to have a pretty brutal fight along this area, probably. That'll be fun. We're at the point where we're getting enough influence that it's worth the risk. We have a 54% success chance in the US, thanks to me partially taking over Cuba. Actually, I think that hurt us. We didn't get any bonus for control points with neighbors there, so I'm not going to cancel. Actually, yeah, we took Cuba, we set its policies, but we're going to abandon it. What abandoning it does is it makes it not cost us anything. If we were trying to get boosts or mission control or whatever from it, we wouldn't be able to, but we can still set the priorities. Just other nations can sweep in and take it from us. So with that done, did that make any difference in taking America? No, because it still counts as having the control points. Oh well, we're going to try to take it here and hope for the best. So here we go. Mexico's getting better. It's down to 3.5 strife. If we open it up,
next mission.
Like that's way down. We're starting to. We haven't really touched this yet, and polarize is still an issue just because strife is such a problem. Also because we're pouring a bunch, of course, into the space program. That's gonna happen right now. It's more efficient to get the space programs up and running early and build the economy after than the other way around. And we've done it. We have set our first foothold into the United States. Once you have one, future ones are easier and cheaper to get. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. And America has some problems to deal with, most notably its polarization. So we're going to, since America already has a space program, it already has some mission control, already has quite a bit of boost. Boost is just like rockets and such, things that are able to get us out into space. And you can see we're getting a little bit of boost income now. But because it has all that and such high income inequality, we need to put America into an immediate recovery program. We're going to do a little bit of propaganda, and we're going to do a lot of bit of trying to bring income inequality back to normal, just kind of start fixing. We're going to apply this template across as we get more and more in. You might have noticed this direct investment button. This is more late game. It's legitimately spending money to try to push these things up directly. We don't have that kind of money yet. We're poor. Okay, and we got our first army because we took America. So we have the 2nd Marines. Oh, unrest is high in Iraq, you say? Really? 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 Yeah, of course it is. Anyway. With some of this money, we've grabbed another organization for... Not for him, though. We might want to grab this Latium Fund right here. Gives us some extra knowledge. Nah. It was for Kareem here. We got Leonidas Products, which is going to give us just a bunch of extra money, like it's going to pay for itself. Next goal is to get either the Pacific Information Group or Energy Independence Initiative. I think that one looks fantastic. And so we're going to go for the Energy Independence Initiative next. And now we see some interesting things. We have detected a base belonging to the aliens at Trigatia Planum on Luison. This is out in the Kuiper Belt. And they've got a station out here. Let's just take a look at this. So, they have a whole fusion reaction farm, battle stations, and facilities we don't even know what they do here. A mining complex, a citadel. This is a war. From their war stations out here to what they're building, they are mining our own solar system to use against us. They are deep in Luison.
How could one so young, coddled as you are by the modern world, begin to understand what war is? I did what had to be done. Closing your eyes and wishing the monster away only makes you an easier meal. Colonel Hans Castile, during a war crimes trial.
And with those words from Hans Castile, We see that we've got a new project available. We'll work on that soon. But yeah, they're here on
Violence
Victor
is
6.
abating.
We're bringing strife down in Mexico still.
The people will come to our side.
Buffing up the US a bit.
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
Let's click back to Earth.
Our supporters are in place.
And you can see we have half the control points in the United States now. We're starting to get near our cap, so as we get closer to there, I might need to shrink things down, but let's zoom in to Earth. Get to the United States. I realize, despite what I said, I did actually want to get some points in mission control. I want that built out soon. So we're still going to enrich the nation as much as possible, try to bring down income inequality and up unity, but yeah, at the same time we're building out our space capacities, because why wouldn't we? We can grab the Energy Independence Initiative that I was looking at. I think I would like that to go on, not him. Who has my best science? I think it's going to be Kareem, actually. No. Yeah, Kareem. Okay. So he's going to get some more persuasion, some more science, generate some research, all that. It's very good for us. This is why we're doing the spoils. And we'll just keep moving things along. There we go. They have not come in peace. Images of obvious alien military ships and structures in the far solar system has dashed hopes worldwide for peaceful contact. Many who wish to seek an avenue of cooperation with the aliens are changing their views in light of some of the first hard facts about their arrival. Road ahead is fraught. What's important here is that half the control points belonging to the Academy will fall into crackdown, and they are going to lose a huge amount of public opinion. Also, all nations, that cohesion we got that brought us more together is reversing. Everything is a little worse across the world. That's where we're going to end this first episode. We have taken control of the most powerful nation on the world, and that's just in terms of game mechanics. It's true. We have huge GDP, many militaries, high tech, a decent democracy, and just a sheer amount of people and economy and power that we can put out in research. As we start taking more control and settling in more, we're going to take this powerhouse and fuel the fight against the rest of the world. Not the rest of the world. Maybe some of them, maybe the servants, but against the aliens. I've been recording a while. I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you're as excited as I am to see this game unfold. I love this game. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and remember, we will be watching.